In this video, I will look at some examples of getting the details right in experimental design. There are some key principles of design that you need to understand, and we have looked at those in other videos. But real experiments that are effective and efficient need more than principles. To illustrate the point, I will discuss experiments in agroforestry. Agroforestry can be defined simply as trees on farms. Trees are key components of ecological and economic systems. Farmers integrate them for a range of products, including fruit, timber and fodder, and for the services they contribute, such as soil fertility, water regulation, microclimate control, or simply aesthetic reasons. As with all experiments, the design of an agroforestry experiment should start with careful specification of the objectives. From these, the treatments and measurements needed can be derived. Plots are defined and the field layout determined, remembering the principles of randomization and replication and the need to control variation. These steps in the design process are the same as for any other experiment. However, some characteristics of agroforestry can make application of the principles harder than applying them to, say, agronomy or crop breeding trials. With both trees and crops and perhaps animals in the system, there are more decisions concerning design and management of the trial, and hence more opportunity for inappropriate decisions. Agroforestry trials typically last longer than agronomic trials, with the consequence that design faults can result in an even larger waste of research resources. Objectives sometimes involve comparison of options for farmers. These may be as simple as comparison of alternative species, as in this example, comparing species for live fences. The experimental plots must be laid out and managed in a way that represent the way a farmer would manage them. It might be pointless, for example, trying to select species for live fencing from a trial in which the trees were laid out in a block planting. The objectives of some trials do not relate directly to options of interest to farmers. In this example, the objectives are to determine how competition between trees and crops depends on the interaction of above and below ground tree architecture and the tree phenology. The treatments and plot design have been carefully chosen to allow the relevant processes to be measured and maybe do not represent agroforestry systems that would be immediately useful to farmers.